Cinematography for me is the most interesting part of filmmaking, so I was really excited to start the final Cine module of the course. I'll start by saying I found it quite challenging adapting to the format of online learning since most of the learning is practical. But I dealt with this throughout the module by taking the time to do extra personal research and taking extensive notes on the seminars. I started the year by doing the electrical safety and cinematography tests. I did my own research on the questions I wasn't sure about, such as the BS 7909 guide, which I learnt was a guide to temporary electrical systems that might be needed when shooting on location, or that Joseph Ruttenberg is the cinematographer with the most Academy Awards. These tests were useful to me when helping me make the jump from second year to third year after the long summer. I really enjoyed learning about the cameras in the seminars. I was not able to do the tests I'd have liked to in the studios due to COVID, so I took it upon myself to do some of my own personal research on the cameras using the websites given to me, and also some of my own searching to find the benefits of this camera and what it can be used for. I created these cheat sheets to reference when needed. I took interest in the ARRI SR2 and had a look at cinematographer Barry Ackroyd, who has expressed his love of the ARRI cameras, but in particular this one with the Super 16mm lens. I really like this style in the film, The Hurt Locker, and through this could see the benefits of this camera. This camera's uses are flexible, but I would choose this camera to achieve a high drama cinematic look. I also looked at the Panasonic and made cheat sheets for this as well. I had a little look at Sebastian V. Gertner's short film Kyoto, in which he experiments with the camera. You can quite clearly see the crisp imagery that is shot through this camera. With all its specifications and image, I would choose this camera if I was shooting documentary or broadcast. It's a shame that I wasn't able to get as much studio time as I'd liked, but I think through this research I have a better understanding of the cameras and would be able to use them if needed. I'd like to learn more about these cameras in the future and hopefully will be able to use them in future projects. I was required to complete a range of photography stills as part of the module. I really enjoyed the challenge of capturing life with the specific requirements that were asked. I really liked the colour stills assignment as it was an area in which I had to experiment outside my comfort zone, but I was happy with how the shots turned out. I found it challenging capturing a shot with the triadic rule since it was harder to find natural things with these colourways. I got my housemates to put on these silly hats so that I could see the effect that these colours can have. I would like to experiment further in the future with these colours. Composition is something I felt much more confident in as I've learnt about this in previous modules. I enjoyed capturing the geometric and frame within a frame and I was happy with these. I had more of a challenge when completing these shots. I think I could improve on the breaking the rules shot, and this is another area in which I'd like to play around with more, as I feel as though breaking the rules can be a lot more successful than what I've shown. I had a lot of fun capturing the different shot sizes. This is another area in which I felt more comfortable with, and I enjoyed forcing my housemates to help me out with this. I also had fun with the black and white stills and I was best pleased with how these turned out. I hadn't really experimented with black and white before, but I did this by taking the photos and then editing them afterwards into black and white. I am aware that my stills have only been produced with limited equipment, but I feel like I've done the best of my ability given the circumstances. This part of the module has definitely given me a better understanding of the different elements of cinematography, and I can't wait to apply this knowledge in future projects. I would ideally like to start my career in film in the lighting department, and so one thing that really interested me in the seminars was how to light darker skin tones. I'd blindly never really considered the fact that different skin tones need to be lit different. And so it stuck out to me as something I'd like to look more deeply into. Whilst achieving this knowledge from the seminar, I thought I'd research more into how to light different skin tones in the same shot. Through this research, I found these suggestions on how I could do it. I've started to prepare for my role in the final BA3 films. I'm performing the role of gaffer in the experimental film Dirty. There was an original script that we were going by where there was a casino scene, and so this is the work that I'd done previously in preparation for that particular script. Even though it's not useful to us anymore, I thought I'd just include it anyway to show some of the work that I've been doing. However, these are the notes that I curated after communicating with the director and the DOP post the change of the script about the desired look for the film. After this, I was able to start my own preparation for the role. I took inspiration from the Black Mirror episode White Christmas. I looked at one of the final scenes where the protagonist is confessing his crimes. In this scene, there's a strong contrast between the real world and the prison that the characters are now in. I analysed this scene in order to get inspiration for my final film. I then created these mood boards so I could get a feel for the overall look. Although a shot list has not yet been established, and so I'm not able to look at making the lighting plan just yet, I looked at what kind of lighting I'd want to use and ended up with this potential equipment list. The DOP and I booked some studio time and performed a test run of the lighting. During this time, I experimented with the battery packs for the lighting, which I had not used before. I found I actually preferred using the batteries rather than the mains, as it meant they were easy to move around and there were less safety hazards. However, we did have some issues with having the batteries run out, so I can also see the disadvantages. I made this chart so that I could refer to it when deciding whether to use battery or mains powered electricity. I was also able to experiment using the Aputure 300D light. I really liked using this soft light source, and I'll definitely be using it for my final film, as it will help to capture that bright but soft light that I'm aiming to achieve. I now need to take the next step in communicating with the DOP about the shots that he wants, so that I can make some lighting plans, and then I will feel fully prepared to start the shooting of our experimental film. I have really enjoyed this module. Although it has been a challenge with hardly any physical use of the equipment, I do think that I've learnt a great deal, and I feel quite prepared for when I now look for roles in the future. I definitely have a lot more to learn, but I've been given a really good insight to where I can improve through this module, and I look forward to my future in cinematography.